Today I wanted to talk about renovations and redevelopment, which is a bit of a different topic to what people normally speak about, and I think it's very important as brokers. You don't need to know necessarily too much about redevelopment, but just knowing that like us as a company can provide this service will set you apart from different people, okay? And I say that because the market's so fixated on, certain products, whereas not really many people understand renovations and redevelopment. And it's a little bit complicated to understand if you don't know anything about construction. But as a broker, it's actually helped me sell more products, okay? I've actually been able to, leverage the fact that I know a little bit more than other brokers and been able opportunity to sell them other products. Like I say, today we transferred Arabian Ranches to Hill. That same client just bought a Hudriyat Island off plan for 11 million last week, okay? He'd already bought an Emaar Oasis, so he already has a broker that he's worked with, but he worked with me because we can offer something different. So we're renovating him a property, and then he saw the value of also purchasing an off-plan project, okay, for 11 million whilst doing the renovation. Because the way I said it to him, we're on a 40-60 payment plan, and over the next 2 or 3 years, we can renovate 2, 3, 4 properties and use that capital that we make from profit and reinvest it into this off-plan project. So you see, it's not just like, we're doing renovations and redevelopment and that's it. We're basically educating clients on how they can diversify their portfolios. The framework is basically what we do as a business and how we help people. We source, renovate, and resell. And the way that you guys can also pitch this to your clients is that, we identify undervalued homes. We manage the entire renovation from start to finish. Okay, so if someone comes to you and say, okay, what can you offer? Why don't I just go directly to a contractor? And the question is that I get asked that quite a lot. Why can't we just approach a contractor? And I say to them, listen, if you work with a contractor, then you're just relying on the contractor's word, and you probably have to get involved with the material selection, the design elements of the house, how the floor plans are going to change. And that's okay if you're an end user and you're looking to move into the property, and it's your home and you want to live in there with your family. But, generally these investors don't understand what people want to buy. So we understand what trends we see in the market when we're reselling properties. We know what color palettes work. We know what floor plans people like. We know where to add extensions and stuff like that. And a lot of people don't understand that. So that's what we take care of. Complete hands-off experience, and we can opt in for a profit share, right? When someone says to us, well, what skin in the game have you got? I'm like, well, we make our money towards the end of the project when we sell it for you. Because of that, we take a profit share. So you imagine we've got 8 to 10 months of our time that we've put into this project. That's our time is our skin in the game. And that's the most invaluable thing any of us have. So this is good for everybody to know, like the key to sourcing a good property. So legacy community. There are not many legacy communities in Dubai, okay, making it very hard to source good properties, all right? This is by far the hardest part of the job, sourcing the properties. The communities that are available will sort of start on the lower end range. Well, if we start right from the bottom from townhouses, you've got Al Reem and Arabian Ranches, and you've got Springs, okay? Parts of Victory Heights work as well. These are categorically sort of 3 locations that have been shown to work well for townhouse flips. Personally, I think townhouses, they are pretty much, everybody's outpriced now. I don't think there's any money in it anymore. There's really not a lot of profit. So we kind of look at the next step. So let's say you've got entry-level investors coming at 10 to 15 million dirhams, which is a pretty good. You've got Meadows, where we completed our project. You've got Arabian Ranches. Some parts of Dubai Hills still work, even though Dubai Hills is constantly evolving in terms of, it's still got a lot of off-plan that's coming to the market, off-plan villas mainly, and also apartments are kind of ruining the dynamic of villas in Dubai Hills a touch. A lot of people are put off by the fact that there's so many apartments coming around. So it might not be necessarily too easy to do it there. But then you've got Victory Heights again. So you've got Meadows, Victory Heights, Arabian Ranches. They're generally where the sort of starting entry point is to the market. Jumeirah Park can work, but there's a few objections people will give. The fact that it's not gated, and it kind of puts people off. Well, if I can go for a gated community, I would rather do that. You've got other sub-communities like JVT as well, but again, still questionable because they're not gated. So then you've got your next level up where you've got, let's say, your medium to high end, Jumeirah Islands, Jumeirah Golf Estates, Al Barari, although I would class Al Barari as sort of going into the top bracket, which is where you've got Palm and Emirates Hills, okay? So you kind of got some different subcategories to where your investor will fit, and that's always subject to when the investor comes. So it's not like one shoe fits all, right? It's like you've got to specialize and understand exactly what the investor wants. So legacy communities, plot sizes are very important. So we just purchased a villa in Arabian Ranches Sahil, which we transferred today. It's 3,300 built up area. It's tiny, all right? But we're going to extend by 10%, and also the plot size is 7,000 square foot. So the plot per square foot is very reasonable, and when we extend 10% and with our designers, we'll make it look incredible. And then you've got this huge garden, and all of a sudden it's worth, 13, 14 million. And we bought it at 8.45, so you can see there's definitely value in it.
Sorry, Joe,
Yeah.
When you mean extend by 10%, like the plot size you're planning to...
So the built up area, this is something you'll learn when you do the renovations. Each developer has its own regulations. Emirates allow 10% added on to the built up area. So that means 3,300 built up, you can add 330 square foot. Honestly, we're not going to add the full 10%. They charge between 800 and 1,000 dirhams per square foot to add that extra built up area. Depends if it's an enclosure or an extension. That's, that's like more in-depth stuff. But, you're looking at, let's say, 280 to 300,000 dirhams in fees just for them to say yes. Then you still got to build the thing, right? So it doesn't always make sense. But in this case, we are going to do a slight extension, and then we'll completely reconfigure the plot. And then also, the location within the community is very important. So for example, I was in Arabian Ranches the other day, and there's a Sahil villa, exactly the same type as ours, but in the garden. So this villa is kind of like low, and then the road, as it kind of hills up, there's a road above it. So from your garden, at eye level, you'll see the road. That's going to put a lot of people off in the resale. So if someone was going to come into ours and see theirs, ours was 13.2, 13.3, and theirs was, let's say, 13 or 12.9, I bet you they will pick ours because ours backs an internal part of Arabian Ranches. It's quiet, it's very close to the golf course. So again, it's about finding the right property in the community. That's what sells. Our Meadows, which I'll get onto, sold in 8 days for over 4,500 dirhams per square foot. This is Meadows. We're talking about a very old community. Why? Because it backed onto a park. Price and potential. So again, you need to do a full feasibility to understand, does the price make sense once the renovation costs are added? Like I just said to you, if we added on a full 10% and we spent 300,000 dirhams on an extension cost, then we've got the renovation cost and we've got all the fees. Before you know it, the margins get slim. So you have to be quite smart with that. Our first project was the Dubai Marina. Okay. Now, after I did this project, I wasn't jumping to go and do another apartment again. And the reason why, there's a few reasons. Number one, for an apartment, the building management can be a bit of a nightmare. Because you're not just dealing with the developer where you're going into a community where you've got a standalone villa, you've got lifts, you've got to do all of you've got to put all protection down in the hallways, you've got neighbors either side of you, then you've got neighbors below you, above you. You can get so many complaints, right? And also building management can be a bit tougher in that scenario. However, we still did buy this for 2.65 million. This was Damac Heights, and we sold it at 3.4. We spent about 300,000 dirham and the client walked away with a profit, okay? And as you can see here, like from the pictures, we changed the flooring, made a custom feature wall, redid the bathrooms, the doors, the kitchen, the wardrobes were made in glass. So we were able to actually turn it down from a rundown apartment into a profitable investment. But my only thing with this one, it took a while to sell. It was on the market for about 3.5 months. There were 2 viewings and luckily one person bought it. 2 viewings in 3.5 months. Says a lot, right? Meadows, we had like 35 viewings in a week. Okay, so there's a big difference. So honestly, wouldn't jump at doing an apartment again unless it was more unique and maybe from like Emirates or someone slightly better reputation in the market so that someone would potentially look at living there. Our next project we did was the Meadows. So this was a very exciting project. This was fully turned around in 8 months. From the day that we transferred and got the property, it took 8 months to buy it, renovate, design, renovate, and resell. Okay, so that's including the resale. For this project, we made it completely turnkey. So our focus is we, renovate the property so they're full turnkey. All right, so basically someone can just walk in there the same day, drop their bags, go to sleep that evening. All right, that's how we do it. And the reason we do it is because as well, let's say in Meadows, if you left that property unfurnished, people are not that imaginative. I'm not that imaginative. I can't imagine what the sofa would look like, the dining table would look like, or the breakfast stools, or the garden. So people like it actually furnished. Even if the person who's buying it says, you know what, I don't want the furniture. Okay, we'll get rid of it. But at least they could see what the space looked like, so they can imagine it. Because again, this was only 3,700 built up area. It's still not a huge villa, but it looked massive because it was furnished and designed and styled well. All right. So this was bought for 8.85, sold for 16.35. My investor made 3 million dirhams. Yes.
So, in that 8.85, how much did you spend after costs?
Yes.
To make it, when you got 16 points, what's the profit?
So The client spent about 3.3 million dirhams, okay? Now, with all the fees and our fees at the end, the client walked away with 3 million dirhams, just over 3 million dirhams. Basically, $900,000 in 8 months, okay? And he didn't have to do anything. Right, imagine that, $900,000 and we took care of the entire thing from start to finish. It's not a bad investment, right? So this was the Meadows, and yeah, Russian buyer, cash buyer came in, they loved it, they made 2 small changes. You know what they did? They asked us to put plug sockets in the kitchen island. They wanted to change the wine shelf to a bookshelf. That was it. 2 small changes. I said, as long as you sign the Form F and you give us a deposit check, manager's deposit check, they said, fine, done, easy. Now another past project, which actually again just recently sold, this was Emirates Hills. So this was a 3-bedroom townhouse, okay, which was a 3,000 built up area overlooking Address Montgomery, the golf course, all right, beautiful golf course. It's actually sold for 16.5 million. 16.5 million for a 3-bedroom townhouse, and you've got a connected house. You ever see the twin villas where you've got, yeah, just like what Imar offer, you own one half of it? So that's all it was. 3,000 square foot plot, 2,900 built up area. We sold it for 16.5 million. But you ask, why did somebody pay that? Well, this was a very niche product, okay? We bought this property without the intention of selling it in 8 days. We sold it in 3 months. Because who's got 16.5 million to spend on a townhouse? Like, not that many people want to do that because they could go across the road. Meadows was 5 minutes from here. You could get a 4-bedroom standalone villa, okay, with a pool in the garden. This had a pool in the garden, but 4-bedroom standalone villa for the same price. But this was because it was niche. There was I think there was 20 of them that faced the golf course. There's no other townhouse that was renovated to this standard. The entire house was full of marble, real travertine, real wood veneer on all of the TV feature walls, custom Minotti furniture. This was done to such a high spec that anybody with a taste of luxury and design, they knew when they walked in, this is done properly. You know, this was bought at 9 and sold at 16.5. Again, with the fees and the renovation cost, the investors still walked away with about 3.1 million dirhams in 12 months. Now, our 2 new upcoming projects, which I will invite you all to when they start construction, which will be very soon, because I think it'll be good for you all to see it. Arabian Ranches. So this is probably maybe the last townhouse we do, because I don't believe that you can even get in anymore at the right price. We've got a 3-bedroom end unit townhouse, which we bought at 4.85 with the target of selling it for 6.4. Low profit margins. Client was happy with 600,000 dirhams if he can make it, which I think we can achieve. He's taken a mortgage, so his return on equity is still going to be around 12-15%, which he was happy with. This was a bit of a small example of what we do, but then also we've got the Arabian Ranches Sahil. This is not the actual villa, but it's exactly the same type. And it does look like this actually. So this type 7, we bought it for 8.45 and we're expecting to sell for around 13 to 13.5. All right, we transferred it, as I said, today, and we're going to start construction in the next 2 weeks. Designs are ongoing, and yeah, we plan on extending it and just really bringing it to life. So this is our current project. So I want to go on to a new service that like we're going to be providing, and this is something that I think everyone can benefit from at any level. All right, and I'll tell you why. So everyone's got these apartments that were sold on 2 things: sold on the brochure, sold on the showroom. Now, we are coming into a time where we're seeing a lot of units come to the market. I think there's about 70,000 this year. They say over 210 over the next 2 years, but I don't know if everything's going to hand over really, because things get delayed. Let's just say there's a couple 150,000 apartments. That's okay, all right, because there is, you know, population growth to support, you know, good projects. And I do believe if you've got a good developer, a good project, someone will end up renting it, living in it, or selling it, or whatever. But what we notice is that nothing is like the showroom. Nothing is like the brochure. You get your new apartment, you've got this blank canvas, you've got the kitchen, you've got a little island maybe, and that is it. Now, one thing that we can do as a company is tell people that we can not just sell you the off-plan property, but we can provide you the end-to-end service. So that's where we come in. I've got designers, I've got the whole team set up now to offer an FF&E plus model, which is furniture fitting and equipment plus. Okay, so it's not just we come in there, because there's plenty of furniture package companies online. But have you ever tried to deal with furniture companies? They're like, hello, sir. Yeah, outside, sir. Yeah, they're not even there. They'll be there in 30 minutes. They're not there. They're there the next day. They can't get in. It's a nightmare. We're offering an end-to-end service where we can provide the full furniture and fit-out service for a few reasons. 1, increase long-term rentability. 2, stand out from the competition of your 200-unit building that's on Property Finder, because I'll tell you now, all these units that are handing over around here, they all look the same. So how are you going to stand out? Or 3, you want to resell it fast, or at least sell it for more, okay? So this is not renovation. This is upgrading the current house. The owners struggle because, again, the units are handed over as blank canvases, they're sold on the showroom, and there's like 200 identical listings. So the solution is fit out based on market-driven design styles, faster rental returns, premium pricing, and quicker resale. And one thing that I want to note as brokers, this will always step you above the other person because it's just a minefield out there of brokers. If you can just offer a little bit more value than everybody else, someone will work with you, trust me, because I do it all the time. So the fit out services we offer, we're going to go for 3 styles. And the reason I'm telling you this is because you can offer it out to your clients too. We're going to offer, this is to be finalized, but it's to give you an idea of what's coming up. We've got 3 different styles. You've got a Belgravia, a Laguna, and a Nordic. All right. So a Belgravia is your white, classical, sort of, very whitewashed, but also, very elegant. Maybe a bit more suited to a female who likes that classy, white, elegant style. Then you got the Nordic, a little bit more masculine, darker wood tones, more wooden feature walls, as you can say, as it says, a bit more Nordic, Scandinavian. And the Belgravia, which is more your classical London with your wall beading, your darker colors in certain locations. This will all be shared with you in good time. But the idea of what we're offering this framework, again, is to just make sure that you as brokers are standing out above the rest, because everybody is just trying to sell the same thing with the same pitch, with the same promise. If you can just be that little bit different, you as brokers will be better. That's the presentation, guys. So if anyone's got any questions, please fire away.
Either he's got the villa and you're working on it, or he's saying, I've got the money, why don't you buy the villa and then do all the renovation? Then what is the model that you follow?
Generally, people come to me as busy professionals with a certain amount of capital, and they're looking for ways to diversify it in this market besides just buying one asset, which everyone is going to push them to off plan naturally, because they do. That's just how it is. This is someone who sees the value in upgrading properties, probably has a little bit or a base understanding knowledge of the idea, but doesn't want to get involved in the day-to-day because it's a bit annoying. It's a bit of a nightmare, You're seeing all this stuff, trying to come in and coordinate. So we say to the client, all right, you've got this amount of capital. All right, if you're on board, we can go away, we can source you the property, we can build a feasibility study, we can give you an idea of all of the costs that are included and the resale exit value. And what we're going to do, we're going to look after the entire process for you. You can get involved as little or as much as you want. We don't recommend you get too involved with the designs, because if the wife's got anything to say about it, she wants this going green, this going white. And remember, we're trying to sell it, and we're the ones that need to sell it. So we have to say, you just back off a little bit, but get involved, give us your final yes, because you're the one that's paying for it at the end of the day. And then by the end of it, we resell the property. So for a client, they can do as little or as much as they want.
So basically they give you a budget, and then you go buy it based on that budget.
Exactly.
And then based on the extra money that's needed, you put that also into the budget, and then finally you go sell it.
Exactly. So if someone comes to me and says, Joe, I've got 12 million dirhams only. Okay, well, I know I need to probably find a property for 8.
Got it.
And the rest of the money, then we need to get together.
So do you also get where people have the villa and then you take it up to sell it after renovation?
Listen, like if somebody has a villa they want it renovating, we can definitely take care of it. Have I done that? No. Generally, someone who's got a villa that wants to renovate it, depending on when they bought it, they probably bought it for really cheap, so they don't necessarily see the value in renovating it to a high standard. They might just we want to, let's say you own something in the Meadows or the Springs and it's just that old horrible condition. They might just say, let's just retile the floor, rewrap the kitchen, and let's just put it on for a bit of a premium. We probably wouldn't get involved in that. But if someone came to me and says, Joe, I want you to take care of the whole thing. I've got 3 million dirhams to renovate it because I want to resell it for X. No problem, we can take care of it.
And the villa, we check in which level you demolish entire villa and structure again, or the main structure is same?
Yeah, okay, so technically you cannot knock down a villa in Dubai unless you get a lot of approvals. So if you were in the Meadows, you could not, you physically would not be able to take down the villa. What you can do, you can change it internally, okay? And you can't actually change a lot of the villas, like in Meadows or Arabian Ranches, externally on the front facade. Palm Jumeirah is a bit different. If you go to the Palm Jumeirah, you see a lot of different designs, a lot of different shapes. You can do a lot. You can literally take it down to its shell, not even shelling, like it's bare bones, just the structure, like the pillars of the house. But in 90% of the communities, you cannot change the outside structure.
But if you don't change, how you extend 10%?
Only at the back or at the side.
Okay.
You can't extend at the front. So, yeah, you can knock through. On the back of the house, you can knock through.
So you said for the apartment, so you will do for the studios 1 bed and 2 beds. That's the same.
So, as I said to you before, we've got two business models, right?
Yeah.
We renovate, resell, renovate, manage, and resell the luxury villas.
Right.
Now, that's one business model. The other business model is furniture, fitting, and equip, plus of the studios, the 1 beds, the 2 beds. Okay, that's not where that's a service that somebody pays us to do.
Yeah.
The other service is we take a profit share. We're involved in that business. If you come to me with a 1 bed, I'll be like, hey, this is how much it's going to cost you. This is what it's going to do, and we're going to turn it around in this amount of time. And that's pretty much that service.
Any costing for us 1 bed? Do you have like for the whole furnishing or renovations that you?
Yes, we will have a costing sheet available. We're actually right now finalizing the designs. Once we have that available, it'll all be shared, yeah.
What is the risk that you've seen in this for you as a broker, as someone who's making money out of this? What is the risk that you have seen?
The biggest risk for us is, and it's the same risk for the investor, right? It's the turn of a shift of where the market would dip and it would drop. Now, we've been very fortunate, and I believe we will continue to be fortunate, that in this market right now, there is a high demand for villas, okay? And that segment of the market is not slowing down. There is nothing that we have seen. There's no upcoming new development that can compare to a renovated villa. Even take Talal Al Gaf, beautiful place, all right? But you can't compare that to our Meadows project. It just wouldn't happen. So our Meadows project versus Talal Al Gaf, you wouldn't even, you wouldn't compare it. So there's a demand for that. It's basically creating something unique that doesn't, that isn't often in the market. The other risks from an investor's point of view, if they're not working with the right people, they can spend too much money on contracting, then there's no margin in it. So they waste 10 months, okay, of their time and money to actually make no money. That would be a big risk. Also, the contractor completely screwing up the work. But we're here to mitigate that risk. The risk that falls on our shoulders would be if we can't resell that property for the money we promised, okay, and we sell for a very little profit, then our profit share margins go lower. So then we've spent 10 months and we don't make hardly anything. That's our biggest risk, All right?
Thank you.
Awesome, guys.